Hey, welcome back to Bulletproof TV. I'm Greg.
And I'm Matt.
Today we're going to get down in the weeds on 6 of the most popular micro guns.
We'll look at sizes and compare the pros and cons for everyday carry.
So stick around, we'll be right back.
All firearms in this episode have been safety checked and cleared. No ammunition is allowed on the indoor set during filming.
So Matt, we've got 6 guns that we personally own, micro mini guns that we've both used for years. Why don't we take a look at what holsters we use them in, what applications, what kind of clothing. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds like a great idea. So a lot of these pistols you can put in a pocket holster like such and place in your jacket pocket or your pants pocket. Makes it quick and easy to pick up and go with.
So the first one up is a little Car CW 380, 380 ACP, 6-shot magazine. What do you think of this little guy?
Great, it's 11.4 ounces empty and loaded with 6 rounds, 13.7 ounces. It's small, so it can be carried discreetly, including in a jacket pocket. So it gives you some options you wouldn't have with a larger gun. It can also be gripped and fired from inside a jacket pocket. So if that's a consideration for you, again, nice and light and discreet to carry, easy to conceal. Maybe a little bit tougher to shoot accurately, but if you're shooting distances you don't anticipate being, but if you don't anticipate your shooting distances to be too far, this might be a good option for you.
That's only 0.75 inch thick. Look at how thin that thing is. You compare that to a standard 5-shot J-frame. Look at the size comparison of that. It really is a small little gun. I put a Trijicon night sight on the front, and I got to tell you, I can knock plates down at the 15-yard plate rack with this, no problem whatsoever. It's a neat little gun, double action only. A lot of people like to pocket carry it. Of course, you want to use a pocket holster to pocket carry it, but slick little gun. Compare that to this new Bodyguard.
So this is the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, also chambered in 380. The weight empty on this is a little bit less. It's 9.8 ounces. The magazine capacity on this pistol is 4 rounds more, so it's a 10-round magazine capacity. Loaded weight is 15.1 ounces, so more rounds is more weight. But the pistol itself, again, is very small, very easy to conceal. Here you see it in a pocket holster, nice and slim. Great for carry in a jacket pocket, pants pocket, or anywhere else you might want to carry it discreetly. It's light, so if you think you're going to leave it at home in the gun safe because you don't want to carry a heavy gun, this is not, if you're more prone to carry guns that are lighter and smaller, this is a great option for you.
You know, when you compare it to this little guy, this used to be, state of the art back in the day, and it fits your hand fairly well. It's kind of tiny, but this one right here, this is Smith's newest offering. The texture on the grip and the undercut by the trigger guard, it really allows you a full-size grip. Got great sights right out of the box. Great slide serrations. It really is a dynamite little gun. I think most of the guys on our shooting team have bought these.
Yeah, it's been very popular. Really like the good aggressive grasping grooves here. God forbid you need to correct the stoppage. These grooves will help you do that. Lock it back and get back in action real quick.
Yep. Easy takedown. The only problem I had with this was, and I think Jerry had the same problem, the sights were off a little bit. So once we drifted it in the dovetail, it hits dead on. Really a nice little gun. Super light, like you said. It really is a dynamite little gun. So another super popular gun is a Glock 42. Another 380, 6-shot, These are 14 ounces, so it's a little bit heavier than the other ones. It's a little bit thicker. It gives you a good grip.
All right, so the Glock 42 is another good option, chambered in 380. It's got the same amount of rounds as the Car CW 380 and 4 less rounds than the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, but the 380s are a little snappy to shoot, so a little bit of extra weight might reduce your split times and help you get better follow-up shots, get that second sight picture. If this is a good size for you, a little bit bigger than the other two, the extra weight might actually help you shoot a little bit better. The smaller pistols can be a little bit tougher to shoot.
Yeah. This shoots very well. I put Trijicon night sights on it. It's got a Talon grip on it. Taran tactical base pad. It really is a good shooting little gun. Everybody who shot it was pretty impressed.
Yep, so your pinky here barely has purchase on the bottom of the mag, so you can get a mag extender, but again, it's going to print a little bigger and expand the outer dimensions of the pistol top to bottom. But again, if your pinky out in space is not an issue for you, you can shoot it as is and keep it nice and small and compact, or you can put the mag extender on and it'll give you a little extra purchase on the bottom of the mag.
That was my best shooting 380 before this came along. This really rivals that 42, and this is a little bit smaller, thinner, and lighter, and it carries more rounds. All right, so 3 popular 380s, 3 different sizes. What would you use these for? What kind of holsters? Do you carry them in? Do I carry them in? What's our experience with these things? Let's start with this little Car.
So this Car at one point was one of only a handful of handguns that was authorized for backup carry by the NYPD. Pretty reliable gun, one of the first to come out, so they've been around for a while. Very small, very easy to conceal and carry. They're not heavy at all. So if you're the guy that grabs the gun off the counter to,
What did he just say?
Check the front.
I don't want to say leave guns laying around on the counter.
Yeah.
If you're the guy that needs to grab a light gun quick, throw it in your pocket, take your dog for a walk, well, then this is probably a good option for you.
Great little pocket gun and a pocket holster. Double action only, super lightweight, like you said. I wouldn't particularly use this in a waistband holster, because if you're going to use a waistband holster, you can go to a bigger gun, right? But pocket carry, ankle carry, makes sense.
Yep. Shout out to my friend Quentin DeMarco. This was a caliber that started World War I. So definitely effective. Whether or not it's ideal, the ballisticians would tell you otherwise. So when you talk about external ballistics, that's what the bullet does when it exits the barrel, and terminal ballistics, what that bullet does when it enters your target. 380 considered marginal, but again, applied correctly, can be very effective.
Yep. So this little Bodyguard 2.0, great little gun. It shoots well for me, carries well. Once again, I use it as a pocket gun, an ankle gun. What's your thought on this?
Yeah, even smaller and lighter, great option if having a tiny, concealable, easy to carry, lightweight gun is an option for you, or if that's a priority for you. Again, a lot of the ankle holsters are tough to wear unless you're wearing a high boot or something like that, or you're going to strap a sock garter to the top of your holster. Seen it done. So, or if you got cankles, this probably isn't the gun. This is the holster for you. Yeah, I thought I'd put something funny in there. But, hold on. So, small and lightweight, and with the way the undercut trigger guard is, you get your hand up high in the bore axis. Makes it easier to shoot and tame some of that snappiness we see in the 380.
And this really disappears. It's so small and light, it really disappears.
You almost forget you're carrying it.
Yep. Glock 42. This is kind of getting into, full-size gun mode. It's still light, it's still small. You've only got 6 shots. This particular one, we've got a mag guts mag springs in it, so it gives you a little bit more capacity. But, stock, it's going to be 6 rounds. you're starting to get a little bit big.
Yeah, so a little bit bigger, but the trade-off is you have a little bit more weight there. So if you're one of those people that fires a pistol and says their elbow tendonitis is flaring up because they can feel the vibration because the gun's so small and snappy.
The shoot's very soft. Yeah.
This really softens
Like
the
a
recoil
22.
impulse.
Yeah.
Makes the gun a little bit more shootable. The trade-off is there, a little bit more size, a little bit more weight. But again, there is no perfect gun for every situation and for every person. So you weigh the pros and cons and see what works best for you. So this one, a little bit heavier, tames a little bit more of that recoil impulse, maybe a little more comfortable to shoot, maybe a little bit more accurately to shoot,
Shoots more like a big gun.
and should reduce those transition times for follow-up shots if need be.
So if you were living in Florida, these would be the perfect guns, right? Cargo shorts.
Yep. You can wear them when you wear your bikini to the beach.
That's right. That's what I do.
You can wear them when you wear. Yeah, what can I say here? You can wear them when you wear your European man thong to the beach.
You serious?
You know, we've talked about this before in the last video, but a belly band works really well with these little guns. This is a smart carry. It goes underneath your clothing, and it really makes the gun disappear. So small, thin, light guns like these really work well in a belly band.
So Thunderwear is another great option for these micro compacts. The ankle holsters are tough. If you have to go shoot a qual course and your instructions on your qual course say draw and fire X amount of rounds in a certain amount of time, if you can't bend over, if your hips and your knees are compromised, if you have trouble pulling your pants legs up, if you have trouble pulling your pants leg up, you may have trouble getting this pistol out of the holster and drawing and firing and meeting the standard for that qual course.
So Matt, let's take a look and start to compare them to some of these larger guns, these 38s and 9mm micros. So stepping up the caliber a little bit, the 38 Special compared to the 380s. This is really the bread and butter of concealed carry guns. Smith & Wesson 5-shot J-frames. This is one of the newer ones, M&P 340. It's got a airweight frame. They make them in stainless steel. They make them in airweight. This one right here is 14 ounces unloaded. So this is still a great option for a pocket holster. It's still light enough that you could put it in your pocket and it doesn't look like you have a bag of bricks jumping around in your pants. You want to be careful because you don't want heavy guns printing in pocket carry. This is also nice and slim and streamlined for an ankle gun. If you have this on your ankle, you don't want it printing underneath your pants. You don't want to look like you have a full-size gun hanging off your ankle.
So yeah, so when we say printing, as we move up in size, the guns become larger, wider, heavier. Typically, they take up more space underneath your garment. So printing means how obvious it is what you have on under your garment, right? Can I see what's underneath the garment? Because it's sticking out through the clothing. So as we increase our weight, pistols also become more shootable. So a little more uncomfortable to carry, but probably a little more comfortable to shoot. So again, it's a trade-off. What's your comfort zone and what do you like?
Right. And no matter what style holster, it carries over underneath a shirt. You don't want to have a hand cannon underneath your shirt with a tight shirt. It's going to print, and that's basically what printing is. So if we take a look at this little 5-shot 38 and compare it to some of these other guns, you can see the difference in how small and light these little guys really are. This is a good comparison of really what's acceptable for ankle and pocket carry. So Matt, what is the concern with printing for the newbies?
Well, if you're supposed to be carrying concealed, you don't want to advertise you're carrying, either for tactical or legal reasons. We're not attorneys, we can't dispense legal advice. However, if you're supposed to be concealed, do your best to conceal it.
So even though this is only 38 special, it's still a lot more powerful than 380. And this particular gun takes 357 Magnum also. I call this my noisy cricket.
Get down!
This thing is a handful with these hard little grips. It's quite an effective little gun. 5 shots, 10 shots, 6 shots, 6 shots. So you really have to think about what you're wearing, how you want to carry it, how well you shoot it.
Micro 9mm. So chambered in 9mm gives a little bit more energy downrange. Remember, force equals mass times speed, so the force of the projectile downrange with the heavier bullet at a higher speed gives you a little bit more energy in foot-pounds downrange. Here we have the Springfield Hellcat. It's another good carry option. It's a little bit heavier, but again, if you're someone that likes to manage that recoil impulse for faster follow-up shots and doesn't mind carrying a little bit more weight, this is probably a good option for you. The micro pistols in general are just more comfortable to carry because they're smaller, and typically your 380s are seen more as an ankle holster or a pocket holster gun, but there's nothing precluding you from carrying them appendix carry, a kidney carry, or a 3 o'clock position. And same with these 9mm, so just a little bit heavier. If you're carrying them closer to center mass on your body, if you're carrying them closer, if you're carrying these micro 9s on your hip, typically you don't notice that little bit of extra weight when you're carrying it around, but when you're shooting it, it's much more comfortable. So it's a trade-off.
And that's 18 ounces versus 9 ounces. So, you know, you've got quite a bit of weight difference between that little 380 and that 9mm.
So 10 rounds, magazine capacity on the Springfield Hellcat. Get a few extra rounds. If that's important to you, it's important to note that.
And then moving up to the next tier, Glock 43X. This is 10 shot. This is a little bit larger dimension-wise than the Hellcat. Weight-wise, it's about the same, but this is now, you know, starting to move up a little bit to a bigger full-size gun. All right, so Matt, we got the next tier, these Micro 9s. And once again, back in 2018, SIG came out with the P365, and the biggest thing was they did the stack and a half magazine, which is a lot slimmer than a traditional, like a Glock 19, which is a double stack magazine. It gave them the ability to create a Micro 9, and that's what they dubbed it. Companies like Springfield and many other companies copied that magazine design, and it brought out a whole family of what they call Micro 9s. Smaller, lighter. You know, they were looking for something that was comparable in size to a 5-shot J-frame, and they succeeded. Very lightweight, great sights, 9mm caliber. Some of the downsides are that these can be a little bit more snappy. Since it's lighter. They're smaller. On some of the flush fit magazines, you have to shoot it with your pinky tucked under, which I don't mind. You know, I enjoy shooting it like that. But it really is a nice little gun. Appendix carry, inside the waistband, 4 o'clock carry, works well.
Another great option is the Glock 43X. So similar to the Springfield Armory Hellcat, however, it's a little bit longer of a grip, so you get better purchase with your pinky, which will help you apply marksmanship fundamentals. Also, the sight radius is a little bit longer on the Glock 43X, so that's the distance between the front and the rear sight. All else being equal, a longer sight radius tends to allow for a little bit more accurate placement of your shots. And again, a little bit heavier, so if you want to tame the recoil impulse and you don't mind that little bit extra weight on your hip, 10-round gun to 10-round gun. This one is
22 ounces loaded.
22.96 versus 22.7. So this pistol is 0.2 of an ounce heavier. So whether or not you can even perceive that, I don't know. But you gotta. That's why we always recommend that you go to the range and test drive them before you buy them.
Yep. These typically come with good sights right out of the box. And they've been around long enough that you can find them on the used market also. You don't have to spend $600-700 on a lot of these guns. Many of these guns you can find on the used market if you hunt around gun stores.
Yep, that's important because again, if you're going to start in the world of concealed carry, you want to establish a budget up front and set some money aside for training, for ammunition, for membership to a local range so you can practice. Remember, shooting's a perishable skill, so you want to be able to get back to the range and practice your marksmanship skills.
So in this family of guns, what kind of holsters do you consider practical for these? I have carried this in an ankle holster, and it's starting to get to the point that the weight jiggles around on your ankle a little bit. And we talked about printing. You don't want to have something down there. It looks like a squirrel's running up and down the leg of your pants.
Yeah, so again, when these pistols start getting big, they become tough to carry in an ankle holster. I went to a party once where I got out of my car and my leg was bent, so my pants leg had ridden up, and there's a bunch of guys sitting on a stoop, saw my pistol on my ankle. So again, maybe enough to get me in trouble because at that point I was no longer concealed. So that's a consideration. As they get a little bit bigger, you want to put them closer to your center mass. I shouldn't say that. As the pistols get a little bit bigger, they're easier to carry, closer to center mass. So appendix carry, 3 o'clock carry, kidney carry. Some of those positions are probably a little bit better as these guns get a little bit larger.
These are both examples of different holsters for the Glock 43. This is a appendix carry, and this is a tuckable. It's got a tuckable clip in it that you can put it in your pants and take your outer shirt and tuck it in between the gun and your belt line, and this way it's hidden underneath your shirt. Same thing with this type of inside the waistband holster. It's got tuckable clips made out of Kydex, super low profile, has different screw holes that you could adjust the angle and whatnot to make it comfortable, but great holsters.
Yep, and that's super important to be able to tuck those shirts because clearing your garment's going to be one of the first things you have to do if you have to draw, and especially if you're drawing hastily, you got to clear that garment and get to your pistol without getting hung up on your own clothes.
So Matt, we want to thank our sponsor, Plumstead Arms. They've been very generous with our shooting team and with the studio and the channel.
And remember to follow the 4 primary firearm safety rules.
Like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, please put them down below and let us know what you'd like to see.